What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Misty Crypto Show. I hope everybody's having a lovely day today. Thank you to everybody in the chat. I see you guys popping and talking out in there. Much good and much love to all of you guys. It's very good to see you. And I just want to say thank you to our sponsor, Wax Blockchain. You guys are awesome, absolutely killing the game as usual. I want to waste no time. I want to talk to my amazing friends from the Fame Ladies Squad, Board Becky and Danielle / NFT Ignition. How are you guys? How are you doing? I know you both have a lot going on in your lives.
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Yeah, we're doing good. Like you said, we've got a lot going on, but it's a really exciting time for us, which, you know, any type of change is always going to have its struggles associated with it. But it's, we're taking things up a notch. So it's really good.
Ooh, how's your life, Ashley? I know you had a baby recently, so congratulations.
Thank you. You might hear my little guy in the background. I apologize to anyone listening. If you hear some crying, it's mom life now, and I don't have my normal folks around me who can help me out. So I'm very excited to be here, first of all, with Misty and Crypto again. We love you so much. And yeah, I am really pumped about the future of Web3, blockchain, NFTs, and all of that. I know it's not the most favorable marketplace, but the longer I'm in this and the more I see what's going on, to the extent that I can, behind the scenes, seeing how excited other people are about building in this space, despite the crappy market conditions. I feel more and more optimistic, about where the future is going with all of this, and really excited that it's where I've decided to spend my time. So, and with Fame Lady Squad, Danielle may have sort of alluded to, we've got a lot going on, I think, as a project, not to shill ourselves, but, I think we're actually more optimistic right now than we were this time last year, even though this time last year was a wonderful place to be, speculating and day trading NFTs. So, we're happy to deep dive into all that. And if I do disappear, or if you see my head disappear, just know I'm leaning down to get my baby to stop crying, and I'll put myself on mute and be right back.
You're all good. I did put the link to the Fame Lady Squad Twitter, so definitely go give them a follow, guys, if you haven't yet. And if you haven't yet, you're crazy, because you guys have been around since the very start. You were basically the first women PFP project, which is so freaking iconic. So how has the past over a year now, almost two, right? I'm gonna say year and a half.
Yeah, you're getting on a year and a half. Fame Lady Squad minted mid-July 2021.
Oh my gosh.
And it was, the first all-female generative PFP style, large-scale collection type project that came out. I know many people know our story, but founded by a team who claimed to be the first all-female team in the space. Turns out they were dudes scamming everybody, exploiting the need for representation and diversity at that time, which was a big deal. Fast forward a month and everyone discovered who these guys really were, but we wanted to change the legacy of the project. So Danielle and myself, and some other keen community members came together, and we officially relaunched. So we would call our relaunch date being mid-August. So we've been, day to day in this thing since August last year. So it's
wow.
Getting on. It's crazy how time has flown by. But I think we've gotten the opportunity to learn a ton and see a lot of what's going on. I think we've seen a few cycles already, which is crazy. This
Definitely.
one probably being the most, most variable for me anyways, over this time. I know Danielle's seen more cycles than myself, 'cause she's way more OG. But yeah, it's crazy how time has gone.
Absolutely. I mean, Danielle, we've been friends for so long now, and it feels like forever, even though it's only been, I don't know, we've been friends for maybe 2 years, and Fame Lady Squad, it seems like it's been around for 10, and it's just insane how time is flying in crypto, and so much has happened in the NFT space since then, and a lot of controversy going on now. So it's just how do you guys feel about the state of the market, where we're at right now, and do you think things could get better here, because everyone's so salty right now, and I don't get it.
It's only gonna get better, but it might get worse first. That's just how it is, honestly. But you have to look at it from a longer term perspective if you're really here to build, or to truly invest, or to really be involved in these projects. We're not looking at the 3-month timescale. Nobody should be at this point.
No.
It seems like what I'm seeing right now is a lot of people building infrastructure within their teams and their projects. And that's something that we didn't have this last cycle. It was just a bunch of degens throwing together projects, which was great. But having project managers and people who know what they're doing makes a really big difference. And seeing that teams are taking this seriously and building that and bringing on new team members that are covering roles that didn't even exist last cycle, that to me is like one of the most bullish things we could see.
Yeah, I do see that. There's a lot of innovation, but less degenness, I feel. I think there's still a lot of projects that are still trying to come out, and then you'll have like those 20 guys in Twitter spaces trying to pump it, and then, it kind of like disappears after that. But there are a lot of people that are building with purpose now. I know even like the GameFi space is really popping off, and there's a ton of money being thrown into these games in like the development of the games. And now, they're executing on this. GameFi is becoming a huge thing that now Apple is being kind of, scared off by the whole thing. I don't know if you guys heard, but Apple wants to take 30% of the fees when transacting with NFTs, and your NFTs can't even be NFTs because if you purchase an NFT, it can't have utility in the game. But how does that make sense when I buy an asset in the game and it has utility within the game anyway, except it's not on the blockchain? I just don't know. I,
It sounds like they just don't know what they're doing yet.
it's so early. That's what I think the problem is. We're just so early that people just don't know what to do with anything. How do you guys think that, NFTs have been disrupting like the normal industries since you guys have been in NFTs? Because I know there's been a ton of new use cases in the past year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, like first I just want to say, regardless, just thinking of the market is if you're buying, be thinking more about like, why are you buying it? Like be thoughtful about why you're buying. Do you believe in something that, these projects are, what are they building or whatever? Or are you just trying to speculate or whatever? But that being said, like my background is in real estate. That's what prompted me to learn about blockchain and to learn about crypto and to learn about NFTs and smart contracts. I think that all industries, eventually there's going to be a place for digital assets and blockchain types of transactions. And I think that's the thing that, there, to your point, I do believe there's people who are building just to see what they can do. And they're trying to create something maybe out of nothing. They're maybe looking for revenue streams. That's true and not necessarily bad. But are they like addressing some sort of question that's in the, like solving a problem? Like those are the things that I think are going to be the big winners when we eventually get there. And part of it has to just do with mass adoption too. Like the companies, like they need to know that the consumer is going to be there. We had a Twitter Spaces 2 hours ago with DressX. They do AR wearables, and they've been doing this for some time, but now they're starting to integrate NFTs with that. So that way content creators can actually own their digital assets, and they can also in some cases be the only owner of that digital asset and use it in an AR component, which I think, when you think about content creation and social media, I think is going to be, who knows? I think it's going to be a winner. As I was having this convo, it's like really clicking for me. I'm like, that makes sense. Like that's something that adds a lot of value to those people. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to buy this picture on the internet and hopefully I make some money. It's actually bringing use to their everyday lives and to potentially even their like hustle. Right. So, there's, real estate, digital wearables, there's a lot of things in between where these, this technology, I think is going to be a driving force for innovation. And, I'm really, really excited to see it. And I know the other part, just to your point is, you hear this drama, you hear, things going on in the Twitter sphere, et cetera. There's so many players that, for better or for worse, are not in that ecosystem, who are building, who have nothing to do with influencers. And, unless you're super tapped in, and in many cases, even if you are, like, you might not know these things are happening. And so you want to try to, I think, keep your finger on the pulse of what innovation is happening, the real work that's being done, and not just like shilling and people trying to make money for, in a day and things, forgetting about why that even mattered the next day. Like
100%.
you know?
Yeah, I think that's like the degen of it all. People get very caught up in, kind of the BS, the hype of it all, and not focusing on like the revolution and what's really going on here. I mean, speaking to real estate, I don't know if you guys saw, but I saw something on Twitter about a house being sold on OpenSea, and I was just like, wow, like this is happening. This is the future. And I've also heard of real estate properties being purchased with Bitcoin. I think even BitPay facilitated one of those type of transactions. Just insane stuff. What about you, Danielle? How are you feeling?
Well, in terms of disruption, I would say that we haven't seen any of that yet. We've seen hints towards where that can happen in the future, but we're still in like the hobbyist phase where like everybody here has to really understand what's going on. And this is just something that they're really passionate about. And that's why they're here. But in terms of it, like entering the real market and actually changing how people are spending money and whatnot, that it's a ways away. And it's just the people who are really here that are seeing that in the future. Like we know it's coming. We're
Yes.
just not sure how far away it is or what it's going to take. What is the process to mass adoption? Like in my opinion, it's always going to be education, but like what are the steps to really bring everybody in here?
And what do you guys at this point feel are kind of barriers to entry into the NFT space or the crypto space in general? Because I know, there's a few barriers either way.
I honestly think the biggest one is education and
Yes.
resources, lack of types of resources. If you want to learn about something, you can usually go buy books on it, take a college class, you could do a workshop, you could hire tutors, you can find 1,000 different types of resources to learn multiplication, but you can find like 6 for NFTs and they're all like YouTube and podcasts and a few paid courses, but not much of that. Like we just need a bigger variety, an easier reach. Like you shouldn't need to join a community. You shouldn't need a mentor to understand this space. You should be able to go Google something. I know that's a scary thought, but you should be able to Google something and find reliable resources that can be trusted without people having to question it and have this whole security speech and learn about C phrases. And things are too complicated. It's too hard to find out to learn things.
I'm with you. I'm with you. When I was a senior in high school, I had to do a research paper, and of course, I chose to do my research paper on Bitcoin, crypto, how it was going to take over the current monetary system. And at the time, even though it was like around 2020, I could not, for the life of me, find a lot of serious, credible sources on Bitcoin itself. And obviously, that has changed a lot since then because of the bull run that happened, and we're in the bear now, whatever. But lack of resources is what I had. And I of course I was a part of the Twitter community. The teachers didn't really understand Bitcoin, so they let me write it anyway. So thank God for that.
You're like, I got this from this Twitter handle.
and you know what? They're credible people. So I was taking quotes from crypto Twitter and a few books and everything like that from the space. But I think I want to publish the paper because my sister was looking at it to inspire her paper because she wants to do hers on Bitcoin now that she's a senior. But how do you think, Ashley, the barriers to entry, are they lowered? What do you think we need to work on in this space?
Well, I think Danielle's right, but education is a huge one. If I wanted to add something on top of that, I think and I hope I'm not pissing anyone off, but I don't want to be too romantic about like, what is Web3 supposed to be? I love the idea that people can buy NFTs using credit card. I love the idea that people can buy NFTs without them even knowing it's an NFT. Look at the Reddit situation that just happened.
Oh my gosh.
So I think for those of us who want to see Web3 really become what it can be, I think we need to make sure we're flexible in our mindset and how we talk about, what this space, quote unquote, is and needs to be. So that's number one. And I actually think the thing that drew a lot of people to this space last year, the speculation, the profit, day trading, I also think that's actually a barrier to entry too, because I think,
Valid.
I think it deters a lot of people who see this as gambling, who see this as nothing but risk, nothing but greed, and something that's a trend. So I actually think that these bear markets, where good things are going to come out of it, I'm hoping that that's going to add a lot of credibility to what this space is, because it's not greed, it's not day trading, it's not speculation. And so I'm excited for the narrative, is really, I guess, my point, for the narrative to evolve and it to be something that's more exciting and engaging and appetizing for like the masses type of thing.
I'm with you 100%. And the Reddit thing has really opened a lot of eyes to a bunch of different things, I feel, especially, NFTs being labeled as digital collectibles. And I've been saying this for quite some time that obviously we're not going to be calling NFTs down the line. That's like, saying I'm going to go search the World Wide Web today. That's just ridiculous. So, obviously, skins in the games, they're not going to be NFTs. They're just going to be skins like they are usually. So, I think we have a long way to go. How do you guys feel about, the label of digital collectibles, and how do you feel about the whole Reddit NFT drop? Because it absolutely went ballistic, even though this is something they've been doing since the early summer.
Well, I think in terms of the phrasing, I've seen a lot of projects that I've been working with lately that want to use the term digital collectibles just because it's people understand collectibles. They understand that term NFT is confusing to people. It's even confusing to people who are in the space. Like, especially if you look at, like, if you're going to talk about non-fungible tokens, then let's talk about fungible tokens and semi-fungible tokens and like 1155 NFTs. Those can sometimes be more fungible than others. Like, we can't really call something fungible without like talking about all the fungibility of all the tokens. And so it's a weird choice in terms of naming. They're not all going to be collectibles though. Like, not all NFTs will be collectibles. So there will be other categories that will come out, ticketing and stuff like that, like events and stuff, for example. It is, if we can just change a name for something and it makes it easier for people to understand it, I'm all for that.
What about you, Ashley? How do you feel?
I have no hard feelings about any of it. Kind of to my last point. Yeah. I don't really know what I think it'll be labeled. To Danielle's point, I think that, there'll be a variety of names for things that would have been called NFTs today, depending on like what, sphere they're in. And I fully believe NFT as a term will kind of fade. And even Danielle and myself, when we launched our podcast from the blockchain, that might not be the perfect name of the podcast, but we had considered NFT in the title. And when we launched that, well over a year ago, or maybe it was a year ago now, even then we're like, NFT is not going to stick around. Let's not use that term in our title. Because, whether or not we have the right title now is debatable, but it's just something that I think makes sense that it will disappear to some extent, for a variety of reasons you guys covered. So, and I think it's great. I think it's good, for people to not have to think about it.
I think NFTs are very much like more legitimate than they were, especially when the Beeple hype was around, when he sold it, what was it, 69 million, and everyone was like flipping their lid. Of course, that's when the NFT space blew up. But we also have things like Bicycle. I don't know if you heard Bicycle cards, like the playing cards. They're using a Bored Ape on their cards. That there's just, and Visa, I believe, has a punk, or they have an ape, one of them. Like, all these institutions are investing in NFTs. It just shows you that there's so much value here. Where do you guys feel that, maybe the 6 months can take the NFT space? Because now we have this huge thing going on where they're talking about zero royalties. And I'll read you guys a story that I found like right before we came on. But how do you guys feel about zero royalties, especially because, you guys are important creators in the NFT space?
I mean, we've basically been living with zero royalties anyways. I'll tell you that much. So, well, yeah. And the thing is, like, because of the lower volume and lower price of our project, we really never had like a huge amount of royalties. I think the largest payment we ever got was like 13 ETH. And that was for like a long period of time, because OpenSea did payments differently in the beginning. It was like a month and a half or something like that. Yeah. But, the thing is, NFT projects are building in a way right now where they think they need to get all this money up front and they need everything that they need forever on day one to build their project. That's not really how companies work in the real world, right? Like, most of the time they have to have some way of generating revenue long term. And that really should be the case for projects anyways, because how can you add value long term if you don't have money coming in long term? You can't always count on sales. There's going to be bear markets. There's going to be times with low volume. If you really like are around long enough, like apes, for example, in 10 years, like you might not see apes moving anymore because people like want to hold on to them at that point, you know? So you can't always count on royalties, even if projects are doing really well. So there just needs to be more sources of revenue just in general. And then that takes a lot of pressure off the mint. Like maybe you don't need to ask people for so much money up front if you have some way to generate revenue on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's smart. Ashley, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, again, I do think that in this space there maybe should be freedom for different models, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would argue that one of the most exciting things about blockchain technology, I think for a lot of folks, was this ability to have value added in perpetuity because it's on the blockchain. So there's, I think of two key segments. One is business that Danielle mentioned. If you're buying into a project because you want to see that business develop, very likely you probably want to assume that the revenue stream of royalties is going to be helpful to yourself as an owner in that project. I mean, obviously there's many examples where that's not the case because people were not putting those funds toward building anything. And then of course there's like artists and creators, musicians, all that stuff. And sorry, I'm going to cough. So I'm going to mute myself for 1 sec.
I did that the other day. I was trying to close out the show, and I just started. I was like, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, but you know, I think one of the exciting things about this space, especially from the early days, was this is a great way for creators and artists to be self-sufficient, to employ themselves, to find new ways to live and pursue their passions and be supported through them, and to, you know, have their first pieces be something that maybe they sold for very, very little in day one, year two, but in 30 years when they've developed a name for themselves somehow, and I'm talking probably like visual artists in this case, you know, that they will benefit from building that, you know, work or their brand. Or if you think about musical artists, that they are the recipients, beneficiaries of like their work versus say the record label. So I think maybe I'm being altruistic about it, but I think that there's ways to enhance the creator, and in some cases that's going to be the business person, right? In this ecosystem. So, you know, and just a funny story, just an anecdote, but like when Fame and Lady Squad launched, as I said in the beginning, it was launched by a different team. It sold out immediately. The founders made $1.5 million US. Wow. And Red Flag, like, and frankly, I didn't know, it was so early, at least, especially for me at the time. I didn't even know they did not include royalties. There were 0 royalties.
No way.
Which, looking back, I would have said red flag. They're not planning to build shit, because how at that time they're it's not like they're an established company. They're not Coca-Cola coming into this space, which maybe arguably you could argue that's a different situation. Maybe there's a different reason for being involved in this space. But for someone that's trying to build something from the ground up, it's like, how are you going to continue building? How are you incentivized to do more and do better? Right. And so, it was actually the community at that early stage that said you need royalties. And so I can't remember, Danielle, it was either 2 or 2.5% that they implemented before everything went down and the contract was handed over to us. And then when the contract was handed to us, our community said, raise the royalties again. We want you to be able to build. We know you have, in our case, we had no seed round. And so it raised to 5%, which I think is still a fairly modest royalty.
That's reasonable for sure.
Yeah, but you know, it goes to show you, I think, for people who are buying into these projects, like, why are they buying? If you're looking to just be able to flip and make money, yeah, I get why you don't want. You know, I'm a realtor. People don't want to pay commission. I get it, but you also want. I can get into this conversation and really like get into.
You don't want to do it by yourself though either.
Well, you know, you want people work for you. You don't, right? So, anyways, I could go on and on. I understand. there's room for no royalty. I don't like the idea of it being forced upon projects who have determined they need it as part of their business model. It's happening. People do private deals, that happens, but those are more or less one-offs. I think for the marketplaces, generally the projects should have the choice.
I agree 100%.
I will say, like, I'm still pro royalties, even though I do think that projects shouldn't be relying on them in their plans for the future, because it does usually lead to projects having trouble paying their employees and stuff later on down the road when things happen.
Because now I'm seeing Looks Rare took a jump in the leap out here today, and they were saying that they wanted to remove royalties, and instead of the 2% protocol fee that they have, they now want to do 2.5 and give the new 0.5 to the percent of that to the creators. So they're trying to put it like, I see.
So
this
I'm just confused. Royalties. That's
yes.
Royalty.
So still, it's a royalty in a way that people can't complain about because it's not labeled
just
royalty.
Lower.
And it's only 0.5.
But that's a very small amount.
At the end of the day, if people are day trading, they're looking at their net gain or loss, right?
Yeah.
One way or the other. I would hope people buy things to hang on, and if they end up selling down the road, they've done well. And they're not worried too much. But I appreciate you staying on top of this, Misty and Crypto, because I'm going to have to look it up because you're ahead of me.
I was just looking at this and I was so confused, and I was just like, isn't this a royalty anyway? They're just including it in one fee so that, people don't get angry. I mean, smart of Looks Rare though to kind of think of a new way to navigate this landscape, because I believe one NFT marketplace came out and said that they're going to keep royalties. I'm not sure if that was Magic Eden or not, but there are marketplaces.
So they said they were going to, and then they ended up changing their mind. I know Magic Eden was like, actually, maybe not.
Looks Rare said that originally it's not our place to say who deserves royalties or how much, but if you want artists and creators to be able to go all out, do cool sheesh and give it back, they probably need your support. So they wrote, yes, we said that. This update is an evolution of our previous stance, and it's not something we're taking lightly. The industry is trending towards zero royalties, but it's still our responsibility to support creators in the new landscape. So they're trying to help, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think they were keen about the little that I read. I don't think they were excited. I think they were feeling forced by the market to
a little bit.
Yeah,
because a lot of these people are like, oh, we want zero royalties, period. But I think there's a give and take here.
Yeah, there is. But
I'm seeing the opposite.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go for it.
Oh, I'm just seeing a lot of people complaining about it. Especially when I see these announcements and I'm reading through the comments, and maybe it's because I see the comments for the people I follow versus, all of the comments when there's so many of them. But, people I've seen are upset about it. And so why is this trend spreading? Like, I'm really not understanding.
People don't want to pay the royalties. They just don't want to.
It's like a couple percent.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if it's 10%, so what? Like, the person deserves it. They created this thing. You know what I mean? I just, of course, like you mentioned before, Danielle, there may be cases where you don't need the royalties, and I guess that's fine, right? But at the end of the day, it's for the creator. You're basically just saying, my financial gain is more important than you. And, it's just sad. I feel really bad. And, I even have NFTs. And, if one of my NFT sells down the line, then I feel like I want the royalties for that. That was my NFT that I put out there. It's just so sad. It's so sad. Do you think we're going to get out of this? Do you think this is like a trend, the 0% royalties that's going to die out? Or is this something that you think is going to stay?
I mean, this is a good opportunity for an artist first marketplace to show up that doesn't allow anything like that.
Oh, yeah. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Because from what I'm understanding here is that royalties are not enforceable on the smart contract level. Now, what if we find a way to do that? Is that even possible? Because I know on Solana they're working on it. Do you think that could come to ETH? Do you think another blockchain as a whole, a new layer 1 is going to come out of the woodworks and just scrape them all and just be like, listen, man, we got the royalties built in here, or it could be optional on the smart contract level. I don't know. I don't know.
I think the biggest problem with that is that people find ways to transfer NFTs in terms of like what the interaction looks like on the contract versus selling. So, like NFT trader, you don't sell your NFT, you trade your NFT for ETH. It doesn't look the same way on the blockchain. So the blockchain doesn't see it as a sale, so it wouldn't trigger those on-chain fees. But there are ways around everything. It just takes a couple smart developers, maybe a hackathon or something.
It to me though, again, I think it's still such early days, and a lot of the folks who are buying and selling are folks who are more inclined to do so. They are comfortable diving a little deeper. I think once we start getting into the masses and mass adoption, I think the marketplaces that are the easiest to use, that have the least amount of friction, those are the ones that will likely win the day. Generally, it doesn't mean there won't be people finding roundabout ways, and it doesn't mean those marketplaces won't offer no royalties. I don't really know, but when I think about how hip hop wants to get into NFTs, when I think about Snoop Dogg and like some of these people, they're not getting into this to give away their shit for free. And I'm sorry, I know you're not swearing, so maybe I shouldn't be swearing.
No, you're good.
But like, they're business people. They see the opportunity here that was never available to them before. Do I expect that there's going to be, what's the right, I don't know, not lobbyists, but folks who are going to try to find ways to build to enable the vision that they have.
Yeah,
I do think that'll happen. I just don't know how it's going to look. And then also, the consumer at the end of the day, like they lead with their choices, as well. Right. Like, so they will showcase what's important to them, and the demand will drive things. Sorry to ramble, but one thing I will say, again, coming from my real estate perspective, people complain about paying, in some cases, high commission fees or whatever. And professionals have to showcase, what's their value add for their fees. But you come into a marketplace where I am in Vancouver, where real estate values are super high. People talk about, well, I could do this myself. I could do this myself. They don't do for sale by owner. They don't. And this is just back to the point. There's always going to be a segment that's going to find their way, but then there's going to be the people who just want the easiest way. They want the lowest risk approach. And it may have very much nothing to do with ethical questions. It might just have to do with what's easy, what feels safe. And so if there's fees tied into that, whether it's royalty or transaction fee or whatever, I think many people are gonna adopt the easiest route.
Great point. Great point. Because one of the reasons why I was minting my NFTs on Wax to begin with was because I felt it was the only way that, I didn't need a dev, and I could just, mint my NFTs however many I want. I could do airdrops, which wasn't feasible on Ethereum. And this was really before all these L2s were popular and people were actually using them and building there. When I was looking on OpenSea, there were no creator tools, really. It's just you could upload one JPEG or one GIF or whatever, and it's only a one-of-one. Then you could head over to Rarible, you could do multiple copies, but again, like those creator tools, all that zest, all that fun isn't really there. If you guys, wanted to go mint an NFT yourself, and let's say you just a Twerky even, because I know Twerky, God bless his heart, I love Twerky, so much love for Twerky, and OG. I know he was minting on multiple blockchains. What do you guys think is something that you would like to see if you were just a creator, if you wanted to just go mint an NFT just for fun or just give to your friend? What is something you want to see? What is going to make something easy for you to mint?
I think it's not the minting that's really the biggest problem for creators. I think it's the fact that they now have to market themselves completely.
That's a great
lot of
point.
people coming from the traditional art world, they're used to having an agent or the museum sell their pieces, and they just pay somebody. There's a third party that handles all of that. I've never heard of anybody doing that in the Web3 space, like marketing artist for the artist. It's just projects.
Yeah. Ashley, thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't done enough on that end of things. But I think at the very least, folks who are just entering this space as creators and want to publish their stuff, I think knowing that I would assume most of them have good intentions. I think they probably want to make sure people feel safe minting their stuff. So if there's things that are not on, say, OpenSea or whatever, is there a way to really easily showcase, you can connect your wallet to this and it's safe. And then, I know that there's been already adaptations around like allow list signups, like not needing to bear a huge cost just to market themselves, as Danielle's talking about, like ways to like tools that can help them share their work and build strategies that isn't going to have a huge upfront cost. I just don't really know how challenging the tech side is, besides I think just knowing who to go to. Like we've had to do things as a project. We've had to do dev work, and just figuring out like, who can you trust? Like, how much are you supposed to pay them? Like, what's reasonable? I think having some sort of guide, just to norms and standard, like best practices, I think would be helpful.
Yeah. And I think that actually goes back to Danielle's point earlier about education. Coming into this space, it's hard enough to just understand what an NFT is and then just to go through the whole minting process. And then you guys were just handed Fame Ladies Squad and you had to take that over. It was just an overwhelming thing for you guys. And you just had to navigate the whole space from the dev side to the promotion side. How do you guys feel that, it is to kind of sustain what you guys have going on right now? I know you guys said, like we were talking pre-show, and that you guys still feel that, it's so zesty in your community. Everyone's really positive. How do you think your community actually helped you sustain what you guys have going on?
I mean, they're the whole reason that we did what we did and that the project was even worth saving in the first place. They were amazing and supportive and all that before any of us took it over. It started out that way, and sadly, like, I don't know how much we've actually contributed to that or how much was just built into these people from the beginning, because they've unwavered the entire time, and it's just been consistent support from everybody the whole time.
I do feel like it's unique. I think it's difficult to duplicate, and especially we were just at such a special time when everything was new. People were really keen to like dive in for their, maybe minting their first NFT, right? Like, and our project was one of a kind at the time. Obviously there's been a lot of noise since then. And I think even if you have a wonderful project with a lot of great components, it's still hard to break through that noise. So I think having a strat, and like Danielle and I are part of the the Hug Accelerator program, which is co-founded by Randy Zuckerberg, Debbie Soon, and we're chatting with a lot of founders. And while we've been put in a really unique, difficult position with our own unique challenges, we're, I think, hearing from a lot of folks who are trying to build now and really mean to do a lot better than a lot of folks did a year ago. And it's tough, right? Especially in this supply demand cycle, because I think there's still a lot of people buying because they want to like get resale value. And that's tough to, 10K collections. I think that's a weird norm that's been set.
It is.
I understand why it was what it was at the time, but I think that norm's going to change. And, I think people believing in what they buy in to begin with. And I think that's why, to Danielle's point, like people really wanted Fame Lady Squad to mean something from the very, very beginning. They weren't just buying it to like, and obviously somewhere, but just to trade it. Like, so to buy something just to trade it, you're only going to succeed during the hype moments, right? Like that, and that moon is, you can't see that moon right now. Like that's gone.
Yeah, you can just see the stars and a little bit of the clouds. The clouds are blocking the moon right now. We'll see eventually, though. We'll board our rocket ships, we'll strap up, and we'll take off. What have you guys been doing with Fame Lady Squad lately? Because I've been looking at your TikTok, and I know you guys have, fully animated Fame Ladies that are walking the runway, looking like absolute baddies. So what have you guys been up to?
A lot of things. So, one thing you may not know if you're listening, Fame Lady Squad was actually acquired about a month or a month and a half ago, with that beginning of September. With Daz 3D, and Daz 3D is a software company that's been around for 20 years. They have a sister company called Taffy. I'm actually literally like repping my Daz 3D right now.
Oh.
So I'm so proud of myself.
Swag.
I actually really like their t-shirts. And they do like 3D art, and they're a software animation tool that's really stepped up into the Web3 space, who have partnered with significant corporate partners like Coca-Cola and Warner Brothers through the Batman franchise, and have done a lot of work for them. And so why did we do this? We did this because we had no money and we needed resources, bandwidth, access. And so we were really, really excited to partner. I could say partner, but really like they're taking us on, with us still leading the way. Like nothing's different. We're still the like leaders of Fame Lady Squad, but now we're under this corporate umbrella, and it's providing us access to tools and people and opportunities that we would not have been able to do alone, or at least not as, I don't want to say easily, but it's just a new window that's been open. And so that I'm expecting you will see lots of really great stuff with Fame Lady Squad moving forward. So we're in as I said in the beginning, much better position than we were previously. Our team is committed, and it's a lot easier to claim that commitment when you know that you're within this infrastructure, which is really great. And then what you're talking about, you're seeing a lot of our fun, and that's actually through an application called Zepeto. And so we have not created it. It's, you can go into Zepeto and create your own 3D animations. Now, obviously you pay to play to be able to customize to some degree. And so right now, we're really just, for lack of a better word, we're testing what people want. And our community has come out like pretty loudly saying we love being able to create things in the likeness of our Fame Ladies. So last week we were able to actually get Fame Lady Squad traits starting to, like our first trait was the diode, which is like a face painting kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we were able to put our traits into that platform, and that came quickly, and because of our relationship with Daz 3D. So I mentioned that for people listening, relationships matter. I wouldn't have known how to do this, and nor would I have been able to get it through the door, in a few days. So it was really great for them to be able to help us. So now we're going to start people like it. So are we going to add more FLS traits into here so people can really create their squad? Probably. Are we thinking about ways to, create an easier time for people to be able to get in there and create a lady that really looks like a lady, and help them not have to be such an artist? I think we're looking at those opportunities. And as that's happening and people are jumping on board, it's we have access to 3D animators, and animation tools and whatever. So it allows us to be a lot more informed as to make a business case for doing really cool stuff. And yeah, we're really looking at spending more time in other social channels outside of just our traditional NFT, Twitter, and Discord, because we want to build this brand. We want everyone to know who Fame Lady Squad is, and we want to add value to those communities. We want to start teaching, and Danielle is working on some really awesome educational things that hopefully you guys will start seeing more often. We want that to be associated with the Fame Lady Squad and women in NFTs and women in blockchain. So this is tons of stuff. We're pumped. I haven't scratched the surface. But I hope you can at least capture the sense that we're bullish. We're very bullish.
Heck yeah, man. I'm dropping the link to your site right now. While I'm doing that, Danielle, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, I will say, as she mentioned, I'm working on some educational stuff. I'm really looking to scale that up. As I said before, I think it's the biggest challenge that we have in the space, and I feel like now I have the resources to actually make a change that will help a lot of people. So I'm super excited to do that, and also with the FLS name on it.
I'm happy for you guys. You guys work so hard. Do you guys, kind of like, wrapping everything up here, have we seen the bottom for NFTs? Do you think there's more blood in the streets, or do you think like are we like bullish? How do you guys feel right now? I can't with this bear market. I'm done. I'm over it. Even though the bear market is a build
Unfortunately,
market.
girl, we're not done. We're not done with this. I don't think. I just
No.
think because of where I look at where everything is at outside of crypto in the world. Like the inflation rate is insane. People are really struggling to pay their rent. Rent has gone up an average of 5% in the last month in Chicago. And like I was just reading this crazy article about how much it's going up in a month, 1 month. So it's just like that scary R word is going to come up finally at some point, and we're going to be in a recession. And when that happens, just like when COVID news came out, remember what happened? Everybody freaked out and they took their money out of everything that they could because they're like, oh my God, I need my money right now, right? Like sold all their crypto, everything tanked. But then crypto rebound quicker than the other markets, like stocks and stuff. So that's fully what I see happening, because in that moment, people are going to take their money out, and then where are they going to put it? That's safer than crypto. They're going to put it in fiat. That's not a good place for it. They can't put it in stocks during a recession. That's even worse. Like they are going to realize that crypto is probably the safest place for their money besides like their daily spending cash, and put it right back in the market.
Ashley, your turn.
Well, I think Danielle's right. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't feel comfortable saying we've hit the bottom.
Yeah.
What I will say is I've purchased NFTs, not a lot, but a reasonable amount over the last several months, thinking, oh, this is a good deal. And then I realized, oh, I could have got that for a better deal. However, I still feel comfortable, like, right now more than ever. I think there's some really interesting opportunities in the NFT space as it is. And when I say that, I come from my perspective, I'm mostly coming from talking about collectible type projects. So projects that I've followed, that I was already involved in, or ones I felt I had missed out on, I've taken this time as an opportunity to slowly decide, what do I want? Like if I'm buying in a collectible project where like maybe I can get a higher rarity or a unique trait type of NFT in that collection that I want, that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to have before, or that would have got sniped like super fast, kind of a thing. I do think that I might be betting on the wrong ones. I don't know. I don't think I am. I think that of the ones I'm betting on, there's going to be some success. And by betting on, I don't even mean gaining value, even though I think that's probably what will happen. What I mean is I think those projects are going to become something bigger than they are today. And I want to be a part of that journey. So, I think right now is a great time. Could tomorrow be a better time? Maybe. But I think like it's real estate. It's kind of similar. It's funny when the market goes down, like, yeah, the market could go down more, but the best time is when you feel like you have more choice, less competition as a buyer. And you can just take your time and be really thoughtful. And even if the thing that you bought maybe you could have got a better deal in theory at a later time. If you like what you bought and you want to keep it, it doesn't really matter that much, right? Yeah. You can't time everything 100%.
You'll never pick the exact bottom.
No. Right. So, anyways, that's my thinking around that question. Who knows? I think by the time we can say it's the bottom, as with any market, it will have passed. So by the time we know, it will be gone. And
that's
you
so
will
funny.
No longer, it's true. And then everyone thinks it's not the bottom and everyone starts buying, and then you're all frenzied again. So, and
we'll just be building the whole time.
It's the whole psychosis of it all, to be honest. It's just everyone is just like, when everyone's like, oh, it's the bottom. Is it the bottom? I don't know. Do we have more blood? I don't know. I'm over it. I'm okay if we like start going up again, because that means more people will come back to crypto Twitter. It's funny, when Bitcoin was crossing 20K and some hype started to come back, you saw like some people come back to Twitter and everyone was like partying. ETH was pumping the other day. Everyone was throwing a party. It was crazy. But overall, like, we're all perma bulls. We're all, looking into like the macro 5-10 years down the line, and all of this, like what we're talking about now, we're going to be absolutely laughing at because we're so early. And at the end of the day, we just have to remember that we're so early. So guys in the chat, like Ashley was kind of saying, and Danielle, do your own due diligence, do your research, take your time. This is a build market, not exactly a bear market, where now you can take the time to educate yourself and move forward in your investments. Ladies, where can we find you, and how can we find more information about Fame Lady Squad and what you guys are doing there?
We'll just start Fame Lady Squad, on Twitter at fame_ladies, or you can go to the link that Miss Teen Crypto put out at fameladysquad.com. It'll have all our links. We do hope to have an updated site for you at some point in the near future as well. What I will shill is our podcast from the blockchain. You'll find that on there. You'll find that linked in different ways. So if you want to learn more about Web3, that's what we're looking to do through that podcast. Myself, my name's Ashley, but you'll find me on the internet as Bored Becky, at I am Bored Becky. Hope to meet you.
And I can be found everywhere as NFT Ignition or at nftignition.com.
Awesome. Guys, I did put all those links in the live chat and also in the description of the video. You guys are so amazing. You ladies are the best. And I've known you for so long now, and I'm so happy that we're still friends and that we still keep in touch, because you guys are so genuine. And, I know I could always come to you guys, and you always have a good vibe. And the Fame Lady Squad in general, that whole community has been so strong since the start. And you guys are just going to go so far. And this is just the beginning for you guys. So I'm so happy you guys came and spent some time with me today. It really means a lot hanging out with you guys. I really missed you. So like when I DM'd you guys to come on, I was like, please hang out with me. Like, I really miss you. You guys are like quality people. Ashley's a mom now, so she's like radiating like these like positive mom vibes, and it's just so beautiful. It's really great. And I know you have a son too, Danielle. So and I know he has school early in the morning, and you just gotta drag his butt out of bed and just get him to school. So much respect to you guys for also being moms and still staying so consistent in this space and not like drifting off sometimes. You guys are always so on point. So thank you again for spending time with me. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please, if you haven't already, smash the like, subscribe, share this out with friends, and comment after the show if you enjoyed it and how you feel that the NFT market is going to go. It was great seeing all of you guys. I will see you on Monday. I'm doing a Halloween special. It's going to be so fun, and I'm so excited to hang out with my guests on
Are you going to
Monday.
dress up?
I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to think about what I'm gonna do, but I haven't even gotten a costume or anything yet. So I got some work to do. Spirit Halloween's
you have 3 days to make a costume.
Yeah,
don't even buy one, just make
my
one.
sister, she ordered this cape off of Amazon, and it literally looks like like those kind of plasticky things that you could put over the table at a party or something. That's exactly what it looks like, and it looks like a dishcloth. So hopefully she finds a better cape by Monday. But yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you Monday at noon actually for the weekly Zest. Every Monday at noon Eastern time, I go live with the past week in crypto, the highlights, all the news. So I'll see you Monday at noon and also Monday night for the Halloween special. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you again, Fame Ladies, for joining me. Have a lovely day. I'll see you later. And as always, don't forget, guys, I'm serious, to stay zesty. Peace.